Hey guys, welcome back to Release to Craftin' and Povember Day 4. Oh my god, I always forgot. And the prompt for today is a coronet. And I decided to make an ATC because I haven't made an ATC since I literally started this. That's probably not 100% true, but it's pretty close to true. If you guys do not know, I started out in the mixed media side of art before I ended up here in the junk journal side. And so I used to be in a group where all we did was swap ATCs and inchies and twinchies and art tiles and all sorts of little tiny bits of art like that. And then once I started making junk journals, I was like, goodbye, group, and never really went back to those things again. So yeah, it's kind of fun to dip my toe back into the things that I used to do for funsies before this. And yeah, we're making ATCs. I love ATCs. Also, I've just been really invested in using up all these playing cards that I bought. So here we are. I'm going to use this die cut skull as my background for this piece, which is going to get mostly covered up, and that's okay. It's part of the process. The process is the friends we made along the way. In addition to the skull being the background, I'm going to just use some of this text from this little anatomy stamp set, just to add some breakage to the background, because it looks very solid black, even though it's not black. It's sort of a gray color that's cloudy, I guess is the best way to put it. It's like a mottled gray background. So to break that up a little bit and add some visual interest, I decided to stamp it. And then I have this stamp that somebody sent me in a Happy Mail, which says embalm and carry on, and that's freaking hilarious. And I kind of wish I had this stamp, but I don't. But I've had this image sitting in my stash for at least 6 years, and it needed to go, needed a life, and I was afraid to use it because it's such a cool image and I don't own the stamp, and it's the only copy of the stamp I have. But what better time than the present to use our stuff? So that's what we're doing. So I'm going to fussy cut out the main image because the entire piece will not fit on the ATC, and I end up going back for that rose I left behind because things look better in threes. And I'm just gonna bust out my Tim Holtz watercolor pencils that I almost never use, even though I insisted on buying them, and have luckily stopped myself from buying the rest of the colors because I don't use them that often to justify the money for them. But also this set comes with the rainbow, so I don't need the complete set. That's what I keep telling myself. I am a strong-willed person. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of water and a paintbrush, and I'm going to paint it. In. And I'm not really going for anything super artsy, fancy, or anything like that. I just sort of want to add a little bit of color to what would otherwise just be a black and white image, and give it a little bit of romantical life here, because I think the Lenore poem is a bit of a love poem, a bit of a. Well, it's a paean, which is like a paean. It looks like paean, but it's I forgot what it's called when the A and E are fused together, so it makes it a paean, and I don't like how that sounds, even though it is a pronunciation of the word. Not the point. The point is that one of those is actually a poem of gratitude and thanks to a person. So it's a celebration of life of a young woman who died. That's what Lenore is about. And so I wanted to add some color to this in regards to that, so that it sort of matched the vibe of the poem and what its original intention was, even though it's a poem about a dead girl. And also, I just wanted my card to have some color. Let's be for real. So after spending an inordinate amount of time coloring the roses, I decided to just sort of speed things along. And I was going to go with a gold crown, but I decided that I think a silver crown would be more appropriate. Now, technically, a coronet is not a full crown, but I didn't have a stamp with a coronet or anything kind of like that. A coronet is actually a more simple, basic crown. Kind of like those bands that you see people wear across their heads. That would be a coronet. But but I have this fantastic skull image with a crown, so I had to use it. But I decided to make it silver, so I used 2 different colors of gray, and then I eventually end up going over it with like it's not a Wink of Stella pen, but it's a pen very similar to Wink of Stella, so it's very shiny in person. Not that you guys can see it, because it will not show up on camera. It's very fine glitter. But trust me, it's shiny. This pen right here. Very shiny. Very sparkly. So it does add a nice little pop, but you cannot see it on camera, and it's so frustrating. And then, yeah, I decided to layer in that rose to the background, and then I decided that the coronet was not enough of the star of the show, the crown here, so I went back and added some Lost Shadow embalming on theme but not correct embossing glaze to the top to add more of that silvery color to it without actually taking over the painting of it, because the Lost Shadow is technically like a very soft, very light, cool gray. So it doesn't change the color of the final product whatsoever. It just adds a little bit more shininess and makes, you know, another little layer of interest to our ATC here. And I don't typically mind when things stick off the page or the card, so to speak, on my ATCs, but I did mind that that rose on the bottom was way, way off the page, so I didn't end up cutting it down. So all that painting was wasted, but not wasted. The process is the friends we made along the way, or something like that. And yeah, that's everything. Definitely come back tomorrow, see what we did for day 5. Check out the hashtag Povember24 so you can see what everybody else is doing, and I will catch you guys next time. Until then, you guys, happy crafting. I appreciate your faces. I hope you're having a potacular month. Goodbye.